He is speaking to your spirit, right? You are interpreting it the right way, right? What you are feeling, you are interpreting it the right way. Yes, God is calling you to start that ministry. Yes, God is calling you to start the business. Yes, God is calling you to come from the place where you are, and now it's time for you to be elevated.
Voice inside my head saying you can, yes, you can. You better believe that it's not gonna always be like this.
Can I tell you one of the worst things that I did when it came to starting a ministry was telling the wrong people. And it's only natural whenever you feel like God is calling you to something, or you feel like God is leading you to something. You want other people to support. You want other people to be on board. You want other people to encourage you and give you the encouragement, like to give you that push to keep on moving and that push to go forward. But I promise you, when I told certain people, they told me the exact opposite. They talked about age, they talked about timing. While that may be true for somebody else, that whole experience, it taught me something. And what it taught me is, just because somebody says they're a Christian, just because somebody says that they are living for God, just because somebody says that they're a pastor or a minister, that doesn't mean that they have access to the revelation that God has given you. And that was the issue. I was expecting people to help me or to encourage me with something that they didn't have access to. And what I mean by they didn't have access to, they didn't have access to the revelation that God has given me. And maybe that could be where you are now. It could be that God is telling you to start a business. It could be that God is telling you to start a ministry. And sometimes we just want that encouragement from somebody else. And sometimes we get it, but then sometimes we don't. But you have to be so sure of the call on your life that you step out anyway. I remember, even somebody saying, you don't want to go out there and fail. You don't want to go out there, and have to come back. And I remember telling them, listen, I'd rather jump out and trust God than to stay here and wonder what will happen. And that's where you really have to be in your faith. You have to be so concrete in your relationship with God. You have to be so concrete in what God has said to you, that despite what everybody else says, despite how other people feel, that you still launch forward, you still move forward. Because a lot of people, they want to move forward into unknown territory with comfort, right? But any place that God is calling you to step into right now, it's going to be uncomfortable. And I like to tell people all the time, if you don't know, I'm Pastor Tarrance King Jr., but if you don't know, anywhere that God is calling you to be, it's going to be uncomfortable. So I like to say that you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. So in this season that God has you in, this stretching season, be comfortable being uncomfortable. Be comfortable moving forward in the things of God, because you have to realize that no matter what, that God has you. Even sometimes, because sometimes people are scared to start businesses, or they're scared to start ministries, because sometimes, you could tell me if this is you in the comment section, but sometimes be like, okay, what if it isn't God? What if I didn't hear the voice of God? What if I'm moving forward, on my own, will? And how I like to look at that is even if you move forward prematurely, when you move forward, totally trusting in God, it's not about you, but it's about what you feel like God is telling you to do, or the pull that you feel from God. I believe that, God will catch you every time. I think it's different from dumping out prematurely and say, well, God's just going to catch me because I choose to jump out. But when you really feel that pull, when you have that knowing that this is the place, this is the area that God is calling me to, and then you step out and you launch into that, right? And I believe that no matter what, and hopefully this gives you some faith, and hopefully this helps you to understand that there'll never be a perfect moment. There'll never be a perfect moment when all the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed, and now you're going to launch forward. You're going to have to work that faith muscle this season. You're going to have to jump. And listen, I am a person, anybody would tell you, I am a person, I would jump out. I'm going to believe God. I'm going to trust God. And from the years that I have trusted God, the years that I have stepped out, He showed up every single time. I mean, I can even give you guys a testimony when I was buying my house. This is a little bit of the testimony. When I was buying my house, and the real estate agent, she was saying, the bank was saying it's about a 5% chance for your loan to go through. And I told her, if you're watching, this is true. And I told her, that's too much room for God to move. That's the kind of faith that we need to have in this season, that even 5% is too much room for God to move, because God doesn't need 5%. He doesn't need no percent. He could just move whenever he wants to move. So I wanted to get on here, even though I did a video today already, but I'm gonna post this one today too. I wanted to get on here and just encourage you just to step out, just to launch out, whatever God has called you to do, right? And even if whatever God's calling you to do, put it in the chat. I'll even pray over it with you. We'll pray together. But whatever God is calling you to do, just do it, because your blessing is on the other side of your obedience. Your victory is on the other side of your obedience. Whatever it is that God is calling you to do in this season, I promise you, it will work out. If you trust him, if you truly depend on him, how David put it, he was like, I was young, but now I'm old, and I've never seen the righteous forsaken, right? David was really just saying that the Lord allowed me to be around some situations that people needed help, and he showed up, and so God's going to show up with you too. So just know that this is your season. This is your season to launch forward. This is your season to move forward. Trust God. I like to say, like, you got to be like a dog with a bone, or like when Jacob was wrestling with the angel, refusing to let go, refusing to turn back, knowing that there's more ahead than there is behind you, right? So I want you to take this with you today, whatever God has placed on your heart, and take this video as a reminder, or even a push from God to say, yeah, I'm talking to you. Yeah, it's time for you to move forward. We can't stay, stagnant any longer. There's too much ministry. There's too much purpose. There's too much gifting on the inside of you for you to stay here and stay where you are and not move forward. There's some people that can go through life sitting on their hands and nothing happens. But then there's other people that when you sit on your hands, it means more to the world than the people that didn't, right? Because of how much creativity is in you, because of how much word is in you. And the thing about it is, I like to say, do it scared. Whatever God called you to do, he said, the word says that he didn't give us a spirit of fear, right? So we know fear don't come from God. But we can get scared from certain things. We can, be startled by certain things, but be scared and move forward. Be startled and move forward, You have to say, God, I trust you more than I trust my feelings, more than I trust, the wrong people that I told. God, I trust you more than that, So if you did tell too many people, right, and they're coming up against you, they're saying, don't move forward, don't do this, just mute the voices in your head. Mute the voices and just listen to what God is saying. Because at the end of the day, it's God calling you. It's not your friends. Well, it's not up to your friends whether you succeed or not. Your victory is tied to God and the word of God. So believe that God is calling you to this new level, right? God is calling you to this new place. And I want you to take this with you today. Stop looking for a sign. Stop looking for, somebody to call you randomly, or to see something randomly on Facebook or on Instagram or TikTok, wherever anybody is. Stop looking for it. It may come, but if it doesn't, still move forward. And that's how I am in my faith. If I don't get confirmation, I know God enough. I trust God enough to know and understand what he is speaking to my spirit. And so know God and trust God enough that what he is speaking to your spirit, right, you are interpreting it the right way, right? What you are feeling, you are interpreting it the right way. Yes, God is calling you to start that ministry. Yes, God is calling you to start the business. Yes, God is calling you to come from the place where you are, and now it's time for you to be elevated, right? You have outlived the space that you're in right now. It's not even comfortable for you anymore there, right? Before, you was comfortable doing the things that you were doing. This is how you know it's for you. You was comfortable doing the things that you were doing, but now it's not comfortable. Now it's harder to stay at the level that you are at now. And that's simply because God is calling you higher. So take this as if you need a sign, right? Take this as a sign that God is saying, yeah, my daughter, yeah, my son, it's time to move forward. I'm calling you higher. I'm calling you to greater. I am calling you to a new level. So don't Don't let 2027 catch you in the same place. Don't let next month catch you in the same place, because the moment you step forward, the moment you step out, the moment you leap out, you're going to be just like Peter when he got out of the boat, right? You're going to start walking on things that you should not be able to have been walking on, right? Because it is God that solidifies every platform that you're going to be on. It is God that's going to solidify other areas that people may have failed at. And sometimes that's the reason why people would give you, false advice, because they failed before. And what the Lord has even told me is that people give you things based on their perspective, right? On their limited perspective. So understand that people's perspective is limited, right? But God's perspective is unlimited. So whatever God is calling you to do, step out, launch out, trust again. And you may be saying it didn't work last time. Well, you know what? That was then, and this is now. Trust God, lean not to your own understanding, but acknowledge God in all thy ways, and he will direct your path. And even right now, in this moment, God is directing your path. So I will see you on the other side of your testimony. God bless you.